Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? Shadow! He's back. No, I didn't get on to him, Chris. We were wondering where you were, Shadow. Good morning. Good morning, Corey. Chris, Shadow. Morning, Trader Joe. Today may be an interesting one. Today might be interesting. We have a huge opening range gap here. $418.25. Just marking that out real quick. So let's see. I marked right here. Here's an order block, the mean threshold of an order block on the daily chart right here that we're coming off of. There's no more news for today. Morning, Noel. Greasy. Good morning. I should have gotten on to him. All right, so I have let me do a quick overview here of what I'm seeing. So right here, I'm looking at this last candle on the daily chart. We have the mean threshold of that, which this would be an order block. Hit the middle of it, so I want to see what happens. We're also there's a 1 hour fair value gap there, one up here, because I have to look and see where we could be reaching to, right? Because we didn't immediately rebalance this yesterday. We didn't make it down to this wick high, so we left a little fair value gap there. So currently, I have to switch to kind of neutral on my bias for my daily chart here. Because I was bearish. We had this fair value gap. We took these lows, but now we reached up and closed this fair value gap with that bar there. And we were reaching up in this one, and we still haven't technically closed through that one. But up here, there's still this open. We rebalanced here, but we left this volume imbalance open. So that's my only kind of I don't think we'll go up there, but if we keep reaching up here, that might be where we head to. And at that point, if we take this high up here, I may have to switch to bullish if we displace through this high. If not, if we just reach up into this area and then continue to drop, then I'll remain bearish. But at the moment, I'm kind of neutral because of that. So the 15-minute, as you can see here, we've just been running up since 8 a.m. All these fair value gaps here, so which means there's probably going to be a higher time frame one, potentially. We have this area. See, we have that opening range gap, the high, the one that's been there for the last couple of days. We have this area of smoothness down here. This would be my sell side liquidity. Do we get down there today? I don't know. I mean, we may not. So it's not something I'm really anticipating. We might. But then I drop down to, see, we're bouncing off that 1 hour fair value gap. This may be an order block that reached up into there and reached up into that fair value gap. So if we close down, I would be watching this bar here. Right here, this is the 5-minute chart, but I'd be watching this as a potential order block. So we close down, so I'd be watching here to see if we build up resistance here. If I drop down, same thing. As you can see, it's fractal. So the 1 minute here, we have this reaching up and then dropping. So this series of bars here could potentially be an order block. And then we have a potential breaker. We have a high, low, higher, high. So that would be here to here as a potential breaker. And then we have some inversions here. And then we have a fair value gap here. So, and order blocks. So this may be 4 PD arrays. I'd be looking to go short here, potentially. We have that big opening range gap. We may be reaching back down into this area. I'm going to see if we hit this. And this is early. There's no more news today. So I'd be okay with taking an early trade. So we're hitting that breaker. Here's our potential order block here. So I want to see if it builds up some resistance there. And then we have our inversions here. But I do want to see, because it is early, I do want to see, the type of reactions we're getting. See, we're hitting that breaker right there, kind of reacting nicely off of it. Here's the 0.25 of that opening range gap, and here's the midpoint of it right here. So that'd be a good target. It's a big target, but a good one. We have that. This shaded area is my daily fair value gap too. And then down here at 225, well, it's way down here. Oh, way down there. I was going to say we have our new day opening gap down there as well. You see, I don't want to short right off of a breaker because we have all these other PD arrays up here. And I want to wait and see if it hits any of these other ones. Because I don't want to short off a one. I want to short off where it overlaps, where they at least overlap. So it'd be like up in the 600 to 610 area. If it may not come back up there. If it comes up there, though. We don't have a first presented fair value gap just yet. But you see, I like this because there's 4 PD arrays here. And for it to continue up, I mean, it'd have to just really just disrespect all that. So this is telling me we could have a shift and head back down. So I'm going to mark out this. This 493.50 is going to be equilibrium. So we're hitting the 0.25 on that opening range gap. Market's not playing today. We opened up and we're getting straight into some action. I believe we do see a return up here, though. I don't think we just run down, mainly because if we go to the 5-minute, look how the 5-minute, like we never touched that order block, right? So we never came back. So it may come down to this area and come back up and hit this here. Yeah, let me mark this on the 1-minute. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fair value gaps get inverted to the short side because it displaced up like so many up here. So there's not really one I'll be looking at to use as an inversion. Now I am looking at this 1 minute inversion here because it overlaps with this up closed candle. And this could potentially be an order block here. So if price comes back into there, I'll be watching the open of this candle, consequent encroachment of the inversion, and mean threshold of that candle. Morning, Erlen. Well, we're looking at the market opened and it went into immediate reaction, ran up. We have 4 PD arrays up here: inversion, 1 minute fair value gap, order block, and a breaker. And I'm just waiting to see if we return to this area because I may be shorting. But we have to be careful because that was a huge opening range gap to start the day off. And with that, we could see a retracement into the 0.25, maybe the halfway point, and then continue long for the day, since it was such a big opening range gap. But we'll see. We do have a small 5-minute fair value gap in here as well. So kind of the same looking setup on the 5-minute in this area, minus the breaker. So I want to see if we pull back anywhere up into this area, we still technically, we don't have a first presented fair value gap yet either. So just wait a little bit. Because, we also don't want to get caught off sides. Being early, and get caught in some manipulation. And look at this, where we ran up to as well. If I go to my new day opening gap, it's an old gap from December 4th. Ran right up to that as well. Yeah, so see right here, it touched that breaker and it's going down, but I still don't feel like that's enough for it to just continue. I mean, it could be, but thought it would have came up at least and hit this order block or some of this area. Now, remember what I said yesterday, the better, like, for sure it's an order block if it goes at least 3 times the size of the order block in the opposite direction and then returns, then you can just automatically assume it's a good order block. Hitting equilibrium right here. Yeah, Benton. So that's also why, like, you don't want to just hop right in too soon, and because you feel like price is running away or whatever. And it very well could just go to equilibrium here and continue up for the day, because with such a big opening range gap, like I said, it might not go down to the midpoint. It could just pull back a little bit and continue. Where's my my opening range gap here it just got covered. That's why. It's like, where's my opening range gap high? The high mark of it. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. If we pull back up into this area, if this is going to be a valid market structure shift and point of going short, what I'd want to see is price to pull back up here. I won't just short, because I got to be sure, because the big picture is price could just run to equilibrium and keep going up. So I want to see price return and then give me what I'm looking for, the displacement, the fair value gap, the show me that it wants to continue down. Otherwise, we may see it just go up. And we got our first presented fair value gap here. It's a BISI. It is not a SIBI. So let's see if it inverts it. Or if it goes up here, this area, or what it does. Because if this is as far as we're going to pull back right here and continue longer, this would be a potential area to go long from. Let me do this. Let me throw some deviations out there. Just don't want it to get too busy here. All right, we got 0.25, 0.5 up here. There we go. Case if it goes long. All right. So right now, definitely have to wait. Definitely have to wait. It's Friday. Had a pretty good week. So don't like to mess things up on a Friday. When I take a trade on Fridays, I like to take trades that I'm really okay with. That way I don't go into the weekend thinking about it all weekend and have to wait until Monday. The trades that I hate are the ones that you're like, man, as soon as you get in and it immediately goes into drawdown and you're looking at it red and you're sitting there like, why did I take that trade? I shouldn't have taken that trade. Those are the ones. Oh, man. Especially you do that on a Friday. Ooh, no thanks. And to me, it's not about a fear. It's not about a fear, right? Because you can say, oh, that's just, you're having fear of trading. No, it's not about a fear. It's about being aware of your discipline. Because those little things, that's what sends people, or at least myself in the past, and people I've talked to, that's what sends you into a full spiral, full tilt, Oh, you're right, Pete, P Trader. Forgot, Monday is no trading. Markets closed, MLK. So yeah, this weekend you have an extra day to think about, to sit there and think about doing something dumb. Yeah, Erlen, there was some news this morning, so that's probably the cause of that push up. Um, yeah, Shadow. I think if you've been trading, anybody's been trading more than 3 to 6 months, I'd say we've all been there. Oh man, yeah. Technical issues are the worst for sure. Benton, that was your yesterday. Oh man, sorry to hear that. I hope you at least were green on that trade. If not, as long as you stayed within your money management plan. Yeah, see, it's first presented fair value gap may and you can see here too. We came right up to this inversion. I don't think we hit the open of this bar, but I want to see, you see we're building a type of support here. Looking a little heavy. We'll see if it displaces or what it does. I really would like to see a return to this area, though. We may not get it. I mean, I don't need it, but I would like to see a return to this area and this hold as a area of resistance. Yeah. Yep. Hey, but what's important is two things on that, Benton. Two things is one, it was a small loss, he said. And two, you saw, you know, what happened. Like you took something away from that trade. And like you said, you learned something. And that's the best thing, anything like the worst ones are the ones that you lose and don't understand why, or don't go back and review why. There's usually a reason why. It's usually. So if you're doing chart review and going back and looking at your trades, you'll typically find why you lost, missed something or whatever. And then you can write that down and note that for next time. Like, that is so important. I don't think people understand how important that is. It's like if you read a book, you can read a book the first time, and I promise if you read it again, there's things you'll miss. Same thing with a movie. You're gonna miss things. The second time you see it, you're like, okay, yeah, I missed that the first time. Only second loss this month. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Nothing to worry about. All right, let's see here. Took another stab up into here. This inversion in this order block. Now let's see if we displace through the first presented fair value gap. If we do, I may be looking to short that. And this up bar here reached up through these highs and into this inversion. So if we close down, I'd be looking at this up candle here as a potential order block as well. So I'll throw this fib on it, where it basically just has the open, the close, and mean threshold. Because if we do reach down and close, I want to see the mean threshold of this candle be respected. It might not. I'm just, anticipating. That's all. Always have to be looking a little ahead. If you're not reading and looking a little ahead, then you'll get caught unprepared. You'll get caught jumping into a trade prematurely. And that's where those regrets come in. And this equilibrium is very important, though, because price very well could not trade below that again. Or I would love to take a trade from up here to go through that. You have this little area of smoothness on the 1 minute here. That'd be a good target. Right above that opening range gap, the midpoint of it. Actually, I'm going to remove this fib for now unless price does go up. Not loving the price action right now. 950 macro didn't do anything really. So let's see at 10 o'clock if we get some type of better price action. If not, it may be an early day for me. Not going to lie. And see, this is you have to be okay with just knowing when to call it a day and not take a trade. Y'all see, I've taken very few trades this year. It's January 17th. I wanted to come out, especially since I had a not so good December. I wanted to come out with a bang, right? Like I wanted to come out and I wanted to come out with a bang, start trading, get good, get the ball rolling again. And yeah, I've taken like 2 trades. Yeah, that 15-minute candle, that would be the opening bar candle though. That's the one that I've mentioned. If it's the opening bar, I look at that as a 50-50. It's not one that I really anticipate holding price to continue lower. That's one where I've seen traded through 50-50, half the time that I've done all my testing. The opening bar, fair value gaps, there's a 50-50 shot of it getting traded through. You have to really have a strong bias or reason for price to continue lower for me to really rely on that one. If not, then it's going to definitely be a 50-50. I don't really hold much weight to it. All right, it's about to be 10 in a minute and a half. Let's see if we get some movement here. If we have a very big expansion of a day, I don't think, all this right here very well could be manipulation on the day. It could be. See, we have our opening price here at midnight that I marked. Price open, and we have this move up. What do we know should happen with price? You have an open, high, low, close, right? Or open, low, high, close. So here we opened and we went high. So if we're going to have a big expanding day to keep the market bearish, then we would have an open high for manipulation, and then we'd have a low and close. We would have to have price would really have to pick up if that's going to happen. But, we'll see. I won't be around for that, though, because I'm not going to be here looking at charts all day. But it's just all right, so we have the first presented fair value gap here still. I want to see if we get this fair value gap here overlapping that order block right there. Potential order block. So I want to see price reach up here and see what it does. 10 a.m. I want to see if we hold resistance here. If so, I may be looking to go short. I'll be prepared. If we can hold this, if we can hold price in this area. Hitting the low of that order block. Let's see if we hit the mean threshold of it and if it holds. At the same time, I don't want it to invert this 1 minute fair value gap and create a new one to go long. If it does, then I'd be waiting for price to get up there to see what it does. But I want to see what right in this area. We're hitting the middle mean threshold of this order block. So we'll see if that holds there. Now, if this bar does close up like this, of 10 seconds, I would want to see an immediate rebalance and no fair value gap there. There's no real displacement either, or there's no displacement. So we'll see. All right, now the bar closed there below the mean threshold of the order block. I want to see this get immediately rebalanced. And if that happens, I may go short. That's where price needs to come to the high of this wick right here. If it leaves a fair value gap here, then I'm not interested. See if mean threshold holds up. See where the body closes. We got to look for the body to close. See, we did not get an immediate rebalance right there, so I'm not interested unless price just displaces through that. Because right now, this is an inversion. We reclaimed the first presented fair value gap. We could see price go higher, but now I'm just going to kind of wait and see. Wait and see. And if it does go higher, because this is not something I want to long right now. So we have all this up here still. So if it does go long, I want to see how price reacts up here in this area. And if it just trades straight through this, then that's where I'd be looking for deviations up higher. So that's basically my game plan right now. Because with this, we have another like accumulation phase here, right? So we may try to engineer some buy-side liquidity. That way we can do a stop run, and that'd be manipulation, and then we could drop. So we'll see what it wants to do. Oh, man. Erland, you got a loss. Hey, losses are okay as long as they're within our money management plan. Whatever your money management plan is. Have a good weekend, Erland. We'll be back Tuesday because the market's closed Monday. So right now, I'm going to point out, I am not interested in anything between, let's get a color. What color don't I have? Between, I don't care what price does between these 2 points. Man, let's go green. Between this high and this low. I don't care what price does in between there. I need price to take this high or take this low. So until that happens, I'm not interested. See how it's generating, it's engineering liquidity on both sides right now. And what it's going to do, it's going to take one side and go the other way. Because there's going to be a stop hunt. We have a bunch of people trying to go long and short up in here. So we're going to have a stop hunt somewhere when we see this kind of accumulation going on. So basically, let's do this. This zone right here. We want to see if we get a stop hunt to run up Just like yesterday. So there was actually a trade yesterday that I took around 11 a.m. or so. And same scenario. We had this and we had a stop hunt and then drop. Didn't make it to the levels that I thought we would, but hey, it was nice. I mean, I always like I don't I don't discount it completely when we have this opening candle fair value gap. I take note of it because it can hold, right? So like just because I say like a 50-50 doesn't mean I completely ignore it, if that makes sense. So yeah, it can definitely hold up. So here, all right. So now I'm waiting to see if we're just doing a stop run. We took this high. Are we doing a stop run? Or are we in fact just going to keep going long for the day? But I believe we're doing a stop run. Could be wrong, but that's what I believe. We're going to run up, take out all the buy stops so we can so the market can go down. So again, I want to see, let's get rid of a bunch of these lines here. I want to see if price, how the reaction is in this area. Because this run up into the here could be our stop run and then drop. Getting that 1 hour fair value gap. I really want to see it hit this area up here though. I would love to see it hit this order block. Maybe even this 606 area, and then just have a nice immediate reaction. That'd be optimal, I should say, for me. Take a quick peek at the 15-second chart. Yeah, so here's another area of minor buy side liquidity here on the 15-second, I mean. So here, I mean, we very well could run right up into this order block and drop. We'll see. Crucial area right here. We'll see if we get there. Or if it just displaces. Waiting game for now. Now, keep in mind, if we do go long and say price reached down to equilibrium here, and that's enough for the market and it wants to keep continuing up, and if it does trade through all this, all the PD arrays work as inversions. So how I'm saying, I don't expect price to go through this. If it does, then I would definitely not expect it to go back through it short. That's whenever I would really be interested in deviations and taking it higher. It's a very crucial area right here for me. Basically between 596 up to 632. Now we got an inversion right here. So this may be, let's see, we got to watch. 'Cause 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 Let's look at this one that I called an order block. Mean threshold, wicked up, didn't close above. Something to keep our eye on. Back to the first presented fair value gap. We'll see. If price heads down, this series of up close candles right here could potentially be bearish order block. So right now it's not very clear, but that's how I'm looking at it when I'm watching the charts. I'm continuously trying to figure out and look and be like a couple steps ahead. That way I know, okay, if price displaces through here, this is a bearish order block. If it doesn't, then it's nothing, right? So reached back up into the midpoint of this inversion, dropping. Go high, high, low, higher, high. We got a little fair value gap right here that price did use as well. Let's see if this area holds or what it wants to do. See the wick reaching up, but let's see where the bodies close. If the bodies continue to close where they are here, we may be looking at a short for price to go short. I'm still not confident in going short just yet. The 950 macro ended 2 minutes ago. 10 a.m. didn't really do too much, so body's closed, still closing there. Doesn't quite look like it's ready to displace yet, though. So still waiting for this area. This area to me is still too interesting for price to just go away from it because we never came back to it. I mean, yeah, we'll see. So for now, what I think I'm going to require is price to trade back here before I find a short. Or, I mean, just obvious displacement down. That's going to be my requirement. If you zoom out, look at the price action here. It's easy if you're zooming in to kind of get into the details of this and say, get caught up. But if you zoom out, it's kind of like, meh. Oh, and keep in mind, like, Monday is inauguration day too. MLK inauguration day. Let's see what the news is like next week too, because things like that do play into price action as well. So let's go ahead and look ahead to next week. You bring this over. Next week, Monday, World Economic Forum annual meetings. Beautiful. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's basically just all week. All week we have that, and then we have unemployment claims Thursday, and then news Friday. So not huge drivers for next week. And then the following week, which would go into the beginning of February, we have GDP, Fed funds rate. That's going to be a big news week. So because of that, I may not look very, I should say, whenever I'm taking a trade, I basically wouldn't be expecting huge moves. So, you know, if my low hanging fruit on a trade is 40 points, then I have to take my 40 points or 35 points, whatever it is. Like, I can't, even if something's very obvious and it's big, 60, 70, 80 points, 100 points, it may not make that move over this next week. We'll see. But yeah, see, I mean, this is just, do you really want to take a trade in this? And unfortunately, you know, these make for boring trading, boring streams. But here's the thing. You have to, you know, stay disciplined. A lot of times, myself included, way back when, you know, you get bored and then your eyes start seeing stuff, starts tricking you into thinking something's setting up, and you take it, and then just like earlier we were talking about, then all of a sudden you're like, man, why did I take that trade? Hey, if y'all don't mind, hit that like button for me. Hit that like button. If you find some value in my streams. I know days like this, you know, it is what it is. But let's check out ES and YM, see what they're doing. Whoo, look at ES. Extra slow. I hate ES. YM, what are you doing? Man, look at that. Drive it, Tyler, you driving through Atlanta? Crazy traffic. Oh man, yeah, it's about, I guess it depends what part of, I don't remember if all of Atlanta is Central Time or Eastern Time, but yeah. Atlanta is all Eastern? Huh. Yeah, because I know like when we go to Destin in Florida, that's Central Time still. But I guess Atlanta is a little further north. So that makes sense. Yeah. I'm thinking of Georgia in general, not just Atlanta. Been in Atlanta a few times. I like their transportation system that they have there. That's pretty cool. Their train system. It's very convenient. I wish Houston would do something like that. All right, let's see what we have here. 1020. 1020. We're reaching. Still not. You're not going to trick me, NQ. You're not going to trick me into thinking you're going down yet. Because see what it's doing? It's running a little bit here. But look at this area of smoothness that it's leaving behind. I would not be surprised if it's running out a little bit of stops here in this area. And then before we drop, we see one more push up to run these stops up here. It might not happen, but I would not be surprised, especially with today's price action right now. Again, like I said, I'm interested in seeing price below. Wrong tool. Below this low here. It might be getting ready, but we didn't take this low. So you see how we got close right there, very close, but we didn't take the low. If we don't go ahead and take it, I would not be surprised to see price, like I said, take these highs here, one last buy stop run, and then drop. I would not be surprised because of how it got so close right there. So that's why I wouldn't immediately short any of these fair value gaps. Because if I shorted any of these, then I would want my stop up here. But if my stop's up here, that's literally liquidity for them to run my run stops. That's what they would do. I say they. The algorithm would do is run these stops here. Run these stops because if it does in fact want to continue down, they would run the stops for liquidity hunt right here and then drop it. So we'll see. Who here? Let me see something. Can I see? I need to learn. This is how you know I'm not a professional YouTube streamer. I don't know yet how to do certain things like create polls and do all that stuff. Oh, wait, here we go. Actually, I just learned how to make a poll. All right, but anyways, I was going to ask who here believes there's an algorithm delivering price regardless of buying and selling pressure? Yeah, I know there's not a ton of people on here, but hey, I want to try this out for. There we go. Let's see what nice little poll there. Never ran a poll. Yeah, that'd be my next question for another stream, Chris. Do you think ICT created the algorithm? He talks about the source code a lot in the 2025 lectures. If y'all are not watching those 2025 ones yet, I've been taking some heavy notes. He talks about the source code of the algorithm. I don't know, but I do know it works. All right, so we have not. Okay, we took this low. All right. Maybe onto something. Might be onto something. Let's see if we get some obvious displacement down. Unfortunately, we're getting a little bit lower than what I really liked for an entry, but we'll see. So far, we have 94% say yes, 6% say no. I actually believe it. That is my answer. I say yes. And the reason why as well is because I've seen whenever I used to trade the sniper system with Apex, that's based on the order flow. And you know how you see a lot of people trade, not a lot, but you see people trade order flow where they look intra bar at the orders and they're actually seeing the number of orders and all that. There's been many times where it's like, okay, there's no more orders in that area or in that bar, but it still delivers anyways. And that's where I was like, why? How does that make sense? It can't go if there's no orders. Like I saw it so many times, and I'd ask myself, how's that even possible? If orders moves the market, how can it move with no orders? Like it didn't make sense to me, and I just never understood. And then I told myself, well, I guess that's just the way it is. I don't know. And then also, how do you explain gaps? Right? Like if there's a gap, but there's orders. I've seen it where there's orders, but it gaps. How does it go if there's no algorithm delivering price without orders? That's always what got me. How does the market move and deliver price if there's no orders, if it's based on order flow? That's why I started believing there's definitely an algorithm delivering price. All right. Low, high, lower, low. We'll see. We're moving up into this fair value gap here. Maybe we might be leaving a fair value gap here. So here's that's area of smoothness that I said we may look to take first, but also we might have a little bit of a breaker pattern going on here to the long side. We have a low, high, lower, low, and we have a higher high, which would make this our breaker. It may, I mean, right now we just have too many things going against each other. And then the best breakers have fair value gaps in the last leg. And what do we have here? Fair value gap. So we have a breaker, fair value gap. If I was thinking price is bullish, I'd be looking more than likely to go long here. And it's highly likely to run these highs up here because it's just too smooth. That'd be a stop run up. But almost done with the 2022 ICT videos. It's been eye-opening. Excited to see the 2025 videos afterwards. Have you started 2025? Yes. So this is my recommendation, though. If you haven't watched anything else except for 2022, excuse me, I just had some burping. If you're just finishing 2022, I highly recommend you go to 2024. So 2024, 2024 is a little bit hard to get through, and I'm just gonna say because it's more of a lecture series, so a lot of the videos are 2 and 3 hours long. I would highly recommend put that thing on like 1.25 speed or something. But man, there's some gold in 2024, and then from 2024 go to 2025. That would be my recommendation. Because 2025 is based on 2024, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a part 2 to 2024. So you don't want to skip 2024 to go to 2025. And really 2024, he started it like in August of last year. So it's really the last half of the year. So it's pretty current. It was like from August to December, I believe. You see here, we came back, which this would be an order block as well. A bullish order block right here. And you can see it's building support on the open of the order block right there with a breaker. And we have right here, this could be a nice long to run through here. I mean, you can grab actually 43 points or so if you would have taken this entry right here. Maybe even more. But I'm just not loving price action. And then, we still have these fair value gaps in this right here too. And it's not worth the risk for me. So yeah, that's what I was saying, Trader Joe. That's not a bad trade right here. Because this, I mean, it's too smooth. And we haven't made our way up here. So I still believe we are going to have a stop run up into this area before we distribute low if we do. So right here is a nice looking, I mean, is there an inversion in there as well? There's a little bitty inversion right there. But we have 3 solid PD arrays here. Where if this fails, it's basically 3 PD array failure. And it's not going to work anyways. So that's the trade I love because it's a higher probability of holding up. And then we have this area of really nice smoothness. Well, and now this is an inversion here. Nice smoothness is highly likely to go to. So this would be a nice looking trade. Maybe I could have taken it. I wasn't quite prepared, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like being a little cautious today. It's Friday. I want something extremely obvious. And if I would have taken this trade here, like I would have moved. This is a trade where as soon as it starts coming up here and starts inverting these, I'd probably move to break even quicker than I normally would just to cover in case in case price action decides to just like really ramp up. 571 take profit. Nice. Yeah. I like it. And in fact, I mean, I do like this. And if it does, I mean, I really don't see a reason for it to not trade back up there. But if it does come back into this area, I may look to long from there. Because to me, that's a very high probability of running through those highs. But right here, it was the best entry. 516. Yep, there it goes. Nice. To it and through it. Where's that high? 571.50. That should have tagged your take profit there. That would have been the only trade of the day I would have liked right there so far. But now that we went through it, like even if we return here, I would not go long. I'm just always careful too whenever price action is slow. Like I typically don't like slow price action. Even though like this was very readable, high probability trade. I like that one. But for me, I just don't like when it's slow price action. But this was nice. That was a very good one. Very good trade. Very good trade. And man, if you would have got in, like getting in anywhere in this area, 517 to 71, I mean, that's a nice trade. That's a very nice trade. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a day though. It's already past 10:30. I'm not. If I get something, it'd probably be 1050 macro maybe. So, and I'd really need price action to kind of look better for me. So, like I said last week or whenever it was, is that this year I'm really trying to take less executions and make sure I have really high probability executions. Like I just want to be very confident in my trades and have patience and make sure it's obvious. So, but yeah, I liked this one. I did like this one. If price action was faster, like I like more volatility. So if it was faster, I would have definitely loved that trade. But got in at 25.27. Nice. All right, y'all. I'm gonna hop off. I guess Tuesday. Don't forget, markets close Monday, so I'll be back Tuesday, and we'll see if we can get the second half of January to do something nice for us. So, if y'all, yeah, one micro, that's good. That's definitely good there. So, all right. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Monday off. Maybe use it as a study day, whatever. And I'll see y'all next week. Take care, everybody. Trade well.